Here comes Galinsky out in front of the net, and he scores.
In front. Big shot, big goal.
Vodchuk scores. Josh Vodchuk.
Lowe with a rebound chance, he scores. Lowe, a little more jump back.
And welcome in to the Fort Saskatchewan Jubilee Center for game number 3 of the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. It's the Calgary Shamrocks taking on the St. Albert Crude. And a player to watch for the Shamrocks will be number 10, Tyler Auger, coming in with a goal and 4 assists, 5 points in the playoffs, and 30 goals, 32 assists for 62 points in the regular season. And then down in the other end will be Liam Elliott. You can watch for him. Comes in with 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points in the playoffs, and 40 goals, 40 assists for 80 points in the regular season. And that's all coming up after the break. And welcome inside Fort Saskatchewan Recreation Center, the Jubilee, for game number 3 of the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. It's the 0-1 St. Albert Crude taking on the 0-0 Calgary Shamrocks as they open up their tournament here this afternoon. The Crude earlier today falling at the hands of the Mountain View Mavericks by a score of 9-2. That was the first game of the tournament as we opened up here. Keenan, what are you looking for here this afternoon from Fort Saskatchewan?
This game intrigues me a lot because you go back earlier in the season and the Crude end up taking the victory over the Shamrocks, and that was what, May, something kind of like that, right? So you're looking at it now, Shamrocks versus Crude in the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup, and honestly, it's a brand new season, anything can happen. I'm excited to see where we go from here.
Yeah, and you know, it's going to be a good time for, and a very necessary time for the Crude to try to respond and really save their tournament here early on against the Shamrocks.
Absolutely. Believe the anthems will be coming up here in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of our national anthem?
Welcome back inside the Fort Saskatchewan Recreation Center, the Jubilee, for game number 3 of the Larry Bishop Memorial between the St. Albert Crude and the Calgary Shamrocks. Like I said off the top, the Crude already having dropped one here. They come in at 0-1. The Shamrocks playing their first game of the tournament, and they're the hosts of this year's Founders Cup, so they're in. And the Crude much more desperate here. What kind of answer do you expect here, Keenan? We should have a good one on our hands.
You know, I think the Crude are obviously, for good reason, annoyed with the way that game ended against the Mavericks this year. It was or this year, I meant this morning. What am I talking about? You know, they're a bit annoyed about how it ended, and it's not an ideal situation at all. So, you know, I expect the Crude to come out all cylinders firing, and I'm excited for what's in store.
And right off the draw, O'Dwyer walks in, and another big save by Horn, who picks up where he left off, and he sends it all the way up to Fodchuk. Breakaway, and he tried to tuck it in short side high on Myzik, and the ball goes back the other way in possession of the Shamrocks.
Yeah, talk about a hot start to this game. 2 open looks in the first 20 seconds.
Alert play there by Horn to get it up floor after what was a great performance by him this morning. That shot comes in off the right side and goes wide. It'll be a 30-second shot clock violation, or it'll be a ball out of play violation on the Shamrocks. It'll be Crude ball as they come back up floor.
Yeah, just an unfortunate bounce there, and with the floor violation is now an over and back it's called.
Yeah, I talked about it earlier today. Those are the types of plays you can't afford in these types of games. Those just unforced turnovers. And one of those there is the Shamrocks come back into the zone. Anderson looks, he swings it over to the left side. It's moved down low as the ball is brought up high by Kalinic. Kalinic winds and fires and stopped by Horn. Ball pops out right to a Shamrock. Anderson in, and he gets turned away by Horn, who again makes a big time save early on.
Horn starting in back-to-back games for the Larry Bishop, and what a hot start he's off to at the start of this one.
As the Shamrocks quickly back the other way, 2-on-1, and another save up high by Horn. That time, the shot coming in from, well, he's not listed on our sheet here, but that was a nice save by Horn nonetheless. And now behind the back feed, and as Shamrock came in down low on the crease, and it's turned away again by Horn. That was Ben McLean, who had those 2 opportunities back-to-back as the Shamrocks come back down and set up. Here's Lutweiler. Spent some time playing in Junior A in Nanaimo. Came back home to Calgary, and he's going to go and compete for a Founders this year with the Shamrocks. Lutweiler swings it over to the left side to Say. Say tries to go in between 2 defenders. He pulls back and takes an underhand shot. That goes off of Horn and into the corner, and Say is going to go back and pick the ball up again for the Shamrocks, and they set back up with a fresh 30.
Horn looking strong to start this game.
As the Shamrocks set back up now down low into the middle. Cutter was Anderson. The ball evaded him. Now the ball is picked back up by Say. Left side. Say goes underneath his defender, crease dive, and then the ball trickles through Horn, but it didn't actually cross the line, and they also call Say for stepping into the crease. Crude ball.
Yeah, just had his foot a little bit too far over that line. It was a good look, but not quite what he wanted.
And another unforced turnover there on the back over, and the Shamrocks going to get extended zone time now back into Crude territory. Here's Dowswell coming over into Calgary from the trade with the Rampage at the deadline. Big right-handed ad there for the Shamrocks as he can shoot from the outside and feed. He's got a little bit of a few different elements to his game, and he's really helped this team offensively.
Shamrocks out shooting the Crude 7-0 in the first 3.5 of this game.
As Fodchuk is going to jog back into the offensive zone here, and he's going to look, and he's going to swing it into the stick of Elliott. Elliott looks at the net, he takes it, and that shot goes off the floor into the glass. Ballantyne couldn't grab it, and now once again the Shamrocks are going to race away.
Jet DePava was actually giving Elliott the business a little bit right in front of the Shamrocks bench after that shot opportunity there. I'm curious to see what happens as the game ticks by.
As that shot comes in high off the mask of Horn, ball comes right back out to the Shamrocks, and Say has it now. Gets the pick set for him, and now rolling wide open was Kalinic, stopped up high by Horn again. And now the ball goes loose out in front. Horn's going to grab that and outlet nicely up floor. As the best transition passer right now for the Crude is William Horn, their goaltender.
I think the Crude learned a little bit from their sins of the game against the Mavericks. They've been playing some great defense, even though the Shamrocks have put 9 shots on goal.
Here's Lemieux over to Elliott. Elliott steps back. He weighs his options, and now he goes in and he floats one into the stick of Myzik. Myzik, nice high arcing pass up floor. And here go the Shamrocks in transition. Holochuk out in front, and that's tucked home by Miller, far side. And that's another transition look given up by the Crude, and the Shamrocks have the early lead.
And you know, I was talking about the Crude and their defense getting a little better against the Mavericks, and that, unfortunately, was just the absolute definition of a defensive breakdown, leaving a guy like that all alone that low. He's going to score, if not 10 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100.
I will push back on that a little bit. I mean, goalie's still going to make the save about half the time on those types of chances, maybe more, but you can't leave a guy like that that is that prolific down low like that, wide open. As the ball goes loose, it's going to be picked up by the Shamrocks as they set back up, and no rush here. Auger, guy we talked about off the top, is going to handle it for the guys in green. Off the wall. He comes across the top. Now he shoots, and that goes wide on the far side, picked up by Say. Nice pick by Say. Pick up by Say, and he shoots that in on Horn. And now the ball goes loose on the far boards, where the Shamrocks are going to gain another fresh 30. Kalinic swings it over to the right side. It's Anderson now. Anderson gets the pick from Auger. Auger rolls to the middle, but Anderson takes the shot. And now rebound, Kalinic out in front, faking, and couldn't tuck it past Horn. Now Auger takes a high shot. Crude are about to go to the box.
The first penalty of this game is going to go the Crude's way. They're going to be the ones breaking in the sin bin for the first time in this one.
So with 14:24 to go here in the opening frame, the first power play will go to the Calgary Shamrocks. Shots sitting at 11-1 at the moment. So again, Keenan, you know, we saw this earlier today in the Maverick game when the Crude took on Mountain View. A lot of fast breaks given up, and that's sort of been the story here as the Shamrocks got their goal in that fashion and also have collected 11 shots, a lot of them being an odd man breaks up the floor.
Yeah, you know, and if you're the Crude, as much as I'm praising their defense, you also need to try and limit the amount of shots that you're getting against, right? And that's kind of where the Crude, I think, are struggling at the moment. It is actually a 5-on-3 power play. I don't know what the second penalty was for.
As the ball works its way down low, and that cross crease feed got turned away by Horn. Here's Auger stepping in, gets it down low. And it's fed across, but it's knocked down nicely by McConnell.
Yeah, and you know, the Crude were bitten by that back door a couple times against the Mavericks. Good to see Horn able to read that one and get across very quickly.
Yeah, that was that left creaseman again. It's plagued the Crude so far. Now Auger had all day, but the ball was behind him. Auger to the dotted. Now he gets it down low. Lutweiler, Miller, down low to Say, and he tried to go short side, and it was way wide. Ball goes loose, and Nicopillo will try to box out. Nicopillo is going to keep that loose for his goaltender, Horn, and Horn, aware that he had stepped out of the crease, flips it to his defender. Nicopillo getting pressed here, and he's going to throw that into the stick of McLean. McLean with the purple shoes down to the crease, and he's turned away by Horn as Horn shrugged that off. Ball goes loose, and it's picked back up by the Crude once again.
You know, you were talking about the shoes of Amundsen of the Mavericks in game number 1. How about McLean's shoes, like you were saying, bright purple? I think that might need to win him a player of the game.
Absolutely, and we'll see if the Crude can get out of this. So far, only 30 seconds remaining on the 5-on-3 as they continue to kill here. Ball over to the right side now. No look pass, and Kalinic couldn't bring it in. Ball goes loose again, and it's picked up by Kalinic, who had run through the crease. And it'll be Crude ball, and it looks like they're going to be able to kill the entire 5-on-3 here as long as Nicopillo can escape, and he does so up floor.
A nice job by the Crude to kill off that 5-on-3, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. A big kill early on, and they want to stay within arm's distance of the Shamrocks. Obviously, already playing their second game of the day. Now a partial break is turned away by Horn. That time it was Patterson breaking in. He was on the wrong side of the floor as a Crude player is down and he needs some medical attention here. And I can't quite see who that is. I don't know if you know who that is, Keenan.
I believe that was Dickin that's down on the floor right now.
Yeah, it is. That is Dickin. I know because I saw on warm-up he was wearing white and purple knee band, or just below his knee taping. Obviously, it's a guy that can't afford to lose if you're the Crude.
Good to see he is up now. He's
Yeah,
heavily favoring that left leg.
not look good.
No.
A guy that is in his 5th year of junior. He played all 4 seasons, all 4 of his previous seasons with the Edmonton Warriors, won a Founders Cup 2 seasons ago, and was traded over to the Crude earlier this year, and you don't like to see that.
No, and on the floor, I mean, he went down and immediately he looks at the bench, throws off his glove, and he's like, help, please. So I don't know what the situation is there. We will try to update you throughout the day if we find out anything about Graham Dickin's condition.
Now back the other way, the Crude with a chance in transition. The ball got knocked down there as Fry tried to feed it. And the Shamrocks come away up floor. Auger missed the ball. And it's going to be picked back up by Auger out in the middle of the floor now. Inside the dotted, he circles back out. And he'll wait for his teammates to join him. Now back up high with it is Lutweiler. Lutweiler uses his big frame all the way to the net and blocks his defender out and then jumped across the crease and hit the pipe.
Nice job by Horn to throw out the arm to keep that one out.
Here's Dowswell into the corner for Lutweiler. Lutweiler bounces up top. He pulls it underneath and then he twisted it in on Horn. Another good save by the goaltender. As Lutweiler changed up the angle of the shot, you see a lot of the better players able to change the release point and the platforms from which they shoot from, and Lutweiler able to do that there. As that shot comes in, misses the target, and it's back over left side. Miller up across the dotted, and that saved by the big stick of William Horn.
That was a nice little scoop out from a Shamrock who was streaking across, looking to pick that one up.
And now the Crew in possession. Ballantyne off the left side, up high to Fodchuk. Fodchuk back over to Ballantyne, half wall. He swings it as the Crew look to set up. Here's Elliott looking for space. Gets it to Fry, as he misses the net. And that's going to be a shot clock violation.
And Fry was exchanging some words with Nolan Highcamp there. I don't know if Fry took exception to the little hit that Highcamp threw on him.
Yeah, and Keenan, right now we're halfway through the first, right, and the Crude have 1 shot on goal.
That's just unacceptable.
Something they need. They just need something from their offense. Their defense and Horn are not playing bad at all right now, but they need something from that side of the floor. As the ball is brought up by Kalinic and swung over. Now into the middle, and Auger was cutting. The ball was out of his reach. And it'll be Crude possession again, creating that shot clock violation.
Yeah, as you were saying, the Crude only with 1 shot on goal through 10 minutes of this game. They're getting the defensive play, they're getting the goaltender play. Their offense just needs to step it up a little bit here.
Yeah, especially the goaltending. I mean, Horn has made, over the course of these 2 games, as many great saves as I've seen him make all year. He's playing outstanding as the Crude set back up. Fodchuk circling down underneath, and he threw a twister in on Myzik, stopped by the Shamrock goaltender. And now all the way up floor, breakaway, and a great finish there by Snee, who outweighted the crease. And even though it looked like his momentum was going to take him inside the cylinder, was able to show great dexterity and finish that transition look.
You know, I almost thought that a couple of his toes may have stepped inside the crease there. Nonetheless, referee right on top of the action says, no, that's a good goal. And just like that, now that's 2 goals against in 16 shots. Like, unbelievable play from Horn, and eventually you're going to give some up like that. But when you only have 2 shots on goal through the game, I mean, what do you do?
And I mean, common theme there again was that it was a transition look, right? I mean, their first goal was scored in that form, and now they double up on that. you know, just a lot of it starts with your offensive guys being able to get off the floor quickly, or if they have to, tracking back, taking a guy and tracking back with him right into your own zone. Sometimes you just need to do that as an offensive guy, especially in the second period. We're not there yet, but again, that's something that they got to clean up. And Horn deserves so much better right now. I know we're talking about it a lot, but he's made, I would say, of the 16 shots, 10 of them have been high quality, at least, maybe 12. And he's really kept them in it, and they just need their offense to step up.
And I mean, you look at game one that Horn started against the Mavericks, and what did he face at the end? Around 70 shots?
74, I think.
Yeah, 74, over 60 saves. And I mean, you think about it, 40 of those were probably high quality saves, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, he's playing stellar to start this Larry Bishop Memorial Cup.
As the ball comes back in, started up at center. It's now at the dotted just above it. Ball into the corner. Cutter, OJ! And he tries a fake and a twist back to the short side. Horn stayed with it again.
Well, there's a reason that we have OJ as the player to watch for this game, and that is proof of why.
Yeah, it was a great move, and even better save by Horn as the ball went the other way. It looked like the Crude might have a break, but the ball was a little too far for its target, and the Shamrocks come back down. Out of the corner comes OJ. Kalinic back up to OJ. As a couple of up picks come to the dotted, and then Miller wide open, took a shot that glanced off Horn. As the Shamrocks roll off a check, that's Kalinic. Tried to feed it into the middle, Miller was tied up. Now the loose ball comes over to the right side, and Anderson is gonna pick it up. Still 15 seconds on the shot clock. He's got OJ wide open. The ball was late though, and didn't get there as Dowswell picks it back up. Dowswell, drag move to the crease, and he got tied up and couldn't release the ball. As the Crude do good job to funnel him underneath and not give him an angle to the net.
Yeah, the Crew doing a nice job on the defensive there. Now, like we've said multiple times, the offensive just has to match at this point. 2 shots on goal through 12 minutes of this game.
As OJ picks up the ball, gets knocked down, and he one-hands it up the floor to Lutweiler. Or excuse me, that was McLean who fired it at the net, and Horn the save this time on the far side. As Nicapillo is gonna bring it into danger territory as Lemieux grabs it from McConnell. Lemieux left side. His defender runs away from the pick. Fodchuk swings it to Elliott. Elliott winds and fires right into the chest of Mizek. As the Shamrocks now have numbers once again. It's a 3-on-2 as they go right to the net. Ferrati turned away, and then the rebound was picked up and by the Shamrocks. They extend out here, and that looks like Snee once again, or maybe, yeah, Snee once again.
Yeah, nice job by Snee to pick up the rebound and go for it again. And, well, the Shamrocks make the Crude pay one more time. 3-0 is where we sit. Shots 20-3 in favor of the Shamrocks through about 13.
Yeah, Kalen Snee, having spent quite a bit of time with the Junior A Mountaineers, comes down this year, and he's obviously a big get for the Shamrocks out the back. And you can see he can score in transition. He's got 2 already in this young tournament. Nice face-off win by O'Dwyer. Shot in on Horn. Stopped by the goaltenders. The ball goes into the corner, and a heavy bump there by the Crude. That'll give the ball back to the Shamrocks. They got to start that up in the corner, so they'll redo that.
Jump the hop a little bit there.
Yeah, as Say will start it back up for Calgary. Now right side, OJ across the top. OJ skipping in, and it's right into the belly of Horn.
I actually think that went into the neck of Horn almost on that one. It looked like he kind of threw up the helmet and it dropped down from
Yeah, it could
there.
have. Yeah, it was kind of in the midsection chest area. I don't know.
And he pulled off his helmet, so I think it did end up hitting him around the neck area.
Very well could have, as the Shamrocks piling up the shots in this first period. Skipping into the zone underneath. Fodchuk, crease dive, and that's a good stop by Mizek, who just stood with him and guessed right as he anticipated him trying to go around him. As Fry collects it and gets it over to Elliott. Ball's thrown over to the left side where Fodchuk took a sharp angle shot, stopped easily by Myzik. Fry will start up on the right side now. He comes in. He's got Elliott with him up high. He swings it over to Fodchuk. Fodchuk rips that one in on Myzik, turned away. And here go the Shamrocks.
The Shamrocks are taking a penalty now.
We've got a delayed call, and it is a Shamrock.
DePaiva knocked down a guy behind the play. I believe it was Fry. Oh, no, it wasn't Fry. Sorry, it was Ballantyne that he knocked down behind the play. I'm going to call it a hooking.
So DePaiva goes to the box. It'll be the Crude's first power play opportunity of the game. And it's one of those deals here where you're down 3. You got 6 minutes left in the first. You're basically shut down in your first game. This is an opportunity to get guys feeling good like that. Above all else, offense is confidence. You need confidence, and maybe you can get some here on this power play. Fodchuk, Elliott. As the ball goes to Ballantyne, and he steps into one. That goes off of Myzik as they call the reset. Ballantyne gets pushed on the loose ball, and the Crude will start it back up. Fodchuk rips it that goes high and wide, and the Crude get the loose ball. Elliott looking as he tried to pipe that far side, but it goes wide. And now here's McLean once again racing up floor. He's been aggressive in transition. McLean, and he sent a underhand wide. And that's going to go back over, and the Crude will regain possession.
Yeah, that was a shot with a little bit of heat on it, but it went just wide of the net and didn't force Horn to make a stop.
So the Crew now with 1:15 to go on this power play will gain another possession. Fry up to Elliott. Elliott now to the top to Fodchuk, gets it back. A seal comes from Fodchuk. Elliott tried to hit Fry back down on the crease, and the ball was missed by the Shamrocks off the end boards. Fodchuk regathers. Fodchuk, and he tried to lean to the short side and fire it back to the far side and just missed the target. Elliott off of a Shamrock, and that is going to result in a turnover after Elliott knocked his man down, and then Fry sidearms it through the lane, and the Crude are on the board.
Fry breaks open the game for the Crude on the power play, and I was going to say at some point that in an ideal world, the Crude score on this power play, pull themselves back within 2, and it starts up kind of a whole new game. Now 4:46 to go here in the first, and now you're only down by 2. Anything can really happen, especially with 44 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, scoreboard-wise, it's not a terrible spot. It's just, they got to start getting, obviously, but they got to start getting some sort of threat from that side of the floor on offense, and maybe that power play goal can give them some confidence as the Shamrocks come back down offensively. Dowswell, swim move, all the way to the net. Dowswell jumps up and just ran out of real estate, and Horn cut off the angle.
Dowswell coming over to the Shamrocks from Red Deer in a trade deadline deal, and that just bolstered the Shamrocks.
That last goal, too, the Shamrocks wanted a penalty. Elliott kind of shoved that player from behind, and it turned over, and it ended up going in the back of their net. They weren't happy about it as the ball gets absorbed by the big goaltender, Myzik. He sends it up floor, but it's not brought in by Patterson, and then the loose ball isn't gathered, and the Crude will fire it up floor. But it goes off the window and back into Shamrock possession.
Yeah, that wasn't a clean send down the floor by Horn by any means. Nonetheless, it dumped it down, killed off a few more seconds of the first.
As across the top come the Shamrocks, and they fed it to the left side on the pass from Anderson, but the ball went into the corner wide, and it'll be Crude ball here.
Crude ball deep in Shamrock's territory, and they're starting to gain a little bit of some offensive traction now, so maybe this is an opportunity to pull within 1.
As Elliott has it up top here. Elliott gets the pick from Fry. Elliott whips it over to Fodchuk. Fodchuk now up high with it to Fry. Fry into the midsection. of Myzik as he lobs the ball all the way up the floor. It hits the roof, and it'll be Crude ball as they yell.
Almost immediately, all of the Crude bench staff was
Yeah.
yelling, roof, roof, roof.
Yeah, so the Crude will come back down the other way.
Almost sounded like dogs barking a little bit.
As Nick Apillo. Here's Fry. Elliott takes his man one-on-one. He has a defender slide over to him. No space for him. He tried to feed it over to the left side. And it's picked up by the Shamrocks. Now a potential break here. Right in, and another stop by Horn as he turned away Johnson. And now the Shamrocks pull it out. It's Highcamp gets it back to Johnston.
Johnson's shot hit the post, hit Horn, and went out. That was a lucky break for the Crude.
Now back over on the far side. Ball sent up to Lutweiler. Lutweiler holds on to it. Up top and on the run. It was almost a jump release as he fired that at the net. And then the Shamrocks sent one in and it hit the butt end of Horn and they got a reset, but the ball actually bounced back to Horn and he sends it up floor.
Talk about a lucky reset there. Just nailing the butt end of the stick, and I guess it technically does count as a shot on goal.
Here's Fry as he had that fall out the top of his stick.
Air ball.
And it'll be Shamrock ball. Auger gallops back into the offensive zone here. He's going to be marked by Nick Apillo. Auger looking into the middle, nothing there, so he swung it into the boards, and that's a turnover into Crude possession. Horn has that picked off by Auger. Auger feeds it down low, and then unfortunately Anderson had stepped into the crease, so that's going to turn back over into St. Albert possession. McConnell goes for a run deep in Shamrock territory around the net. He stops up, he circles back. He's chased there by Johnston. And now the ball is thrown right into the stick of Ferrati. And another 2-on-1 here. Ferrati in, and he fires it in one motion past Horn. Quick release there, and he fools Horn up into the top shelf as Horn kind of went down to one knee. The Shamrocks have extended to 3.
I'll be honest, that shot fooled me as well. I was expecting Ferrati to go short side, but he ends up picking on the far side, and it finds its way past Horn to give the Shamrocks a 3-goal lead with 61 seconds to go in the first.
Yeah, it was a key on that was he didn't really slow up either. He didn't tip the goalie off that he was thinking about shooting, and he was able to flick it side. As the ball, another wide open opportunity, but it's pulled out by the Shamrocks. Auger has his shot soaked. And
there's a holding call on this.
Yeah, it's gonna come up. It looks like maybe Ballantyne's going to the box here.
Looks like that's what it is.
That's an offensive guy who got caught back on defense and committed the foul. So the Shamrocks will go to another power play here with just 50 seconds remaining in the period. And you just never want to give up a goal late in the last minute of a period. It can be momentum draining, and we'll see if the Crude are able to at least carry this over into the second period. Auger up top, thought about it behind the back. He flicks it over to Miller. Now he goes behind the back to Lutweiler, in behind the net. Say, back up. Auger steps into it, and that shot soaked aggressively there and nicely by Reich, who jumped the ball.
That had some heat on it too. That must have been painful to the back.
Now Say with an underhand into the midsection of Horn as he steps out and sets the pick. And back up the other way come the Crude. Nick Apillo has Diswenka off the bench, and he tries to go 5-hole, stopped by Myzik, and that's one of the Crude's best opportunities of the game so far. As the ball gets into the Crude zone, and that'll do it for the opening frame with the score. The Calgary Shamrocks 4, the St. Albert Crude 1. The Crude coming in at 0-1. The Shamrocks playing their first game at 0-0. After the first period of play, Keenan, what are your thoughts?
You know, through the first 20 minutes, I feel like the Shamrocks, as I think a lot of people expected, just coming out playing their offensively domination sort of a game. And about halfway through the period, shots in favor 12-1, and the Crude were able to kind of find their legs in the back half, finishing this period with 10 shots to the Shamrocks 24. I think going into the second, it's going to be more offensive-minded for the Crude because they have the defense solid, they have the goaltender solid. You just need to tell your guys, start shooting the damn ball.
Yeah, and I've talked about ad nauseum about them needing to get to the inside of the floor and opening up some lanes for some of their better players to have more space to operate in, and we'll see if they're able to do that. But the good news for them is that William Horn continues to give them a shot, and there's been stretches where their defense has stepped up in this game as well. So, you know, if they can get all facets firing, you know, the potential for a comeback is always there.
Absolutely.
So after one period of play, it's the Shamrocks 4, the Crude 1. We'll be right back with you in 9 minutes' time for second period action. Welcome back inside the Jubilee Recreation Center in Fort Saskatchewan. It's period 2 of game number 3 here of the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. The Shamrocks playing their first of the tournament, 0-0. And the Crude having dropped this morning's game to the Mavericks at 0-1. We pick play back up here in the second with the score, Shamrocks 4, Crude 1. And Keenan, Crude did have some moments in that period. You know, they killed off the 5-on-3. Horn is playing quite well overall. You know, if you add in yesterday or this morning's game, it feels like yesterday.
Practically.
And you know, overall he's playing very good lacrosse. But you know, again, we know where the issues are right now, and until they get some confidence there and get some rhythm going, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, you know, I think the Crude would be in a better position if their offense is just firing on all cylinders. Right now, it seems like they're kind of just limping along on the offense and, you know, getting the goals when they can, wherever they can, rather than, you know, creating those opportunities and forcing plays kind of thing, right? So.
Yeah, and the Shamrocks coming in, I would imagine they probably watched that game this morning and saw the Mavericks kind of take over in transition, and it looks like they've made a concerted effort to play that way. And now Nick Apillo is going to draw a penalty here as he crashed the crease, and the Crude are going to go 4-on-4 because they do have a man in the box.
Yeah, as he was falling, he actually was holding his neck there. I'm not sure if that was more of a selling type thing or if that was actual injury. It looks more like it was just selling. So, but kudos to him for calling that or getting that.
Tough to say. The stick might have rode up. I think that's why it was a penalty. I think the stick rode up on him.
Makes sense.
As the Crude are going to set up here, 4-on-4 into the middle. Elliott is open, but he's tied up at the last second. Good work there by Johnston.
Nice defensive stick by Johnston, too, just to keep him tied up in prime scoring lanes, too.
Johnston comes back up the floor, and he sends a sailing pass up to Say. Say is going to walk this in. He's got a lane here if you want to. Say out of the way of the net, and that was stopped by Horn.
Well, mostly out of the way of the net. He clipped it a little bit, I think, there.
As the ball goes loose, and it pops up into the stick of Dzwanka, who's going to run it up. Floor here, 3-on-2 if they want it, and Dzwanka is going to pull it out. Fodchuk is going to wait for some offensive players to hit the floor. They've got just under a minute left in this power play. And there's another delayed call coming up here as Horn has made his way to the bench. Right side, Elliott inside the dotted, up to Jack Fry. Now Bennett Fry with the shot wide, and the Crude are going to get a 5-on-3 of their own.
Yeah, and a nice job by the Crude, too, recently to start drawing some penalties in, you know, the last few minutes of play, spanning back into the dying minutes of the first here. And this is what the Crude need. They need to, you know, capitalize on opportunities like this. And on a 5-on-3, you got, 43 seconds of a 5-on-3? You want to score in that first 43 seconds. That pulls you back within 2.
Yeah, especially when you're down by 3 like the Crude are here. Elliott dotted, he's got a lot of space if he wants to step into one here. As O'Dwyer's really sinking in, taking away that low guy. Fodchuk. Elliott all the way to the net. Stopped by Myzik, and now here's Snee. Pair of goals in this game already. He's going to hold up. He's going to dish it over to Heitkamp, who gets up high with it. As he is going to hold on to this. Heitkamp floats that into the zone, and the Crude are going to have about 1:15 left on a 5-on-4 here as the Shamrocks get a player back out. You can see the captain, McLean, taking his spot atop the kill here. He's pretty multifaceted as he's played a lot of offense as well. Dangerous in transition as the ball goes around.
Fry tripped over himself, it seemed, there coming into the zone.
And now the ball is thrown over Fodchuk's head, and here goes McLean once again. Ben McLean stopped by Horn. And how many times have we seen Horn make those breakaway and 2-on-1 saves today already in his second game? it's been pretty damn impressive.
I've said it all season long. Horn is one of the top goaltenders in the North. Just unfortunately, he hasn't had the offensive support for his stellar play all year long.
And they're not even putting the shots up on the clock right now because the Shamrocks have had a couple of late, and they're still at 24. Well, now they added one.
Looks like they're trying to update it, just they're not succeeding at it.
But in any event, man, he comes up big again, and when your goaltender is making those kind of saves, it really lifts you up, and it can make a big difference in your demeanor and in your morale and your belief in your team that you can make that comeback. He's given them a chance, but they got to start going here. As Lutweiler goes to the net, another stop by Horn on the short side, and he's gonna calmly have that ball sent up floor. Elliott had that ball fall out of his stick.
I think Elliott thought it was in his stick for a moment there.
The pass was a little behind him, and now the Shamrocks set up. Highcamp off the left wall here. Doesn't have a lefty yet with him as Kalinic finally joins the play here. Ball goes loose, and the pick is set for Dowswell. He tried to send that cross floor into the corner. It goes loose, and that bounce shot goes into the paraphernalia of Horn. And this time, Stenson is going to be tasked with taking it out over the timeline for the Crude. Avery Stenson, growing up in the Edmonton Warriors organization. Sends it to Fodchuk. Elliott. Try to one-hand that back up to Fry on the pop, but then he bats it right into the stick of Highcamp. Highcamp tried to hit McLean, and I misspoke earlier. That was not Highcamp earlier, it was Ferrati, but that was Highcamp there. And now the Shamrocks set back up here. 5 minutes into the second period, Lutweiler gets it back on the give and go. Lutweiler underneath, he gets turned out by Nicapillo, and then on the run, that shot came in. And they give him the reset, but Lutweiler didn't know it, and he put the ball down. And the Crude are gonna turn it up the other way. Fodchuk, as he loves to do, leaning to the short side, ripping it back far, but it misses the net. And now, another breakaway here. Patterson, stopped by Horn. As Patterson kind of faded to the wrong side of the floor there and didn't really have to, and Johnston picks the loose ball up. Mankinen again, transition looks aplenty here for the Shamrocks.
Yeah, they just keep picking off passes by the Crude in neutral territory, and it's starting to bite the Crude in the ass.
And that riser is fought off by Horn. Really good shot there by Say, and another good save by Horn. As left on the right side, Anderson down low. Dowswell into the middle. That ball got knocked down. Good stick by Dzwanka, who's been playing some good lacrosse for the Crude in these playoffs. Him and Reich have really picked up their play, especially since Drader has been unavailable due to injury, but now the Crude will go to the box. It looks like Menon will be the guilty party.
So the Shamrocks going back on another power play opportunity here, and they've been dangerous all year on the power play, up by 3. And honestly, at some points in this game, with 29 shots on goal, I'm surprised that it's only up by 3 at this point.
As the ball goes around the perimeter, Lutweiler, right shooter up top, he fakes it, and that goes off bar as he dragged it all the way to the net. Auger got room to shoot, he feeds it, and then they tried the cross-crease pass. It was in behind McLean. Anderson, excuse me, and now we got another call coming up, and
it's gonna be the Crude again.
Yeah, it looks like a hold perhaps. That was the initial signal. We'll get the call from official Marcus Fisher.
Would that be holding the stick?
Yeah, perhaps. It might just
I don't think that's
it might just be a
correct.
different mechanic. Like, Marcus is from Saskatchewan, so the mechanics of some provinces are different in terms of how they signal penalties. As the ball goes down low, that's over the head of Auger, but it's saved by McLean.
This is a
Down
long
low.
5-on-3.
Lutweiler, Auger, down, cross crease feed is too high. Auger picks it back up behind the back. And they're going to say Lutweiler went through the crease. So it'll be Crude ball with still plenty of time to kill on this 5-on-3.
Still another minute and 6 seconds of it left.
Way over the head of Dzwanka. And I can imagine, I can understand his frustration there. But the Shamrocks are going to come back and set up the 5-on-3. Dowswell down low. Anderson, cross crease pass and wide open. Going back door. It was saved, and he makes no mistake. Actually,
that was actually Nygren that scored that one.
Yeah, it was not Say. So Nygren with the goal there. Don't see him on the power play too often. I saw a smaller lefty and couldn't see the number. I assumed it was Say, but no. It was Nygren who snuck down. And that left crease again, Keenan, I don't know what it is, but that seems to be what they really give up, especially on the power play. And that turns goal.
Yeah, the Shamrocks now up by 4, 12:45 to go in the middle frame. Still anybody's game, mind you.
But a big kill again here. Now 5-on-4 coming up for the Crude as the Shamrocks go back to work offensively. Miller gets it back up top. He gets to Dowswell. Dowswell gets it back on the give and go. Now Miller slips into the middle off of the seal, and he just sent it wide. Still needing to get the reset. The Shamrocks aren't going to be able to grab the ball, and it'll be Crude ball.
Yeah, the Crude just killing off the time that was left on the shot clock there to just force the possession.
Here's McConnell, now Nicapillo. So slow play this with only 30 seconds left to kill. Shamrocks will probably get about 15, 14 seconds on a power play if they can get the loose ball, if a shot happens to take place for the Crude. Bodchuk, no space to let one go, and he'll just whip that down into the far corner. The Shamrocks now with 11 seconds left on the power play, but I doubt they go here in case of maybe turning it over, not wanting to turn it over with a guy coming out of the box. So they'll wait and be happy with going back to 5-on-5. Now skipping to the dotted line is Lutweiler. He sent it to Anderson. That was too high and wide. And back up top, Miller skips it. Lutweiler with a bullet to the short side. Horn with a great save. He had a perfect angle on that, and it wasn't able to ride up over top of his shoulder. Stenson has that picked off nicely by Auger. Tyler Auger, and he twists that wide of the target as Horn didn't give up much ground there.
Horn just standing his ground, making sure that Auger doesn't get the look that he wanted.
As the Shamrocks come back down. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Auger up top, rips it past Horn on the run. And it took a while for him to get his shot dialed in, but the Calgary sniper makes it 6-1.
Yeah, that was a nice goal, just crossing from the close side over onto the far side. Just figured rip one on net. I got a couple guys down low that could pick up the rebound there, and turns out, well, there was no rebound because it only found Twine.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the time it's very difficult to shoot like that when you're on the run because you don't get that plant and that transfer of your weight. But it also can kind of catch the goalie off guard, thinking, oh, this guy hasn't planted yet. He's probably not going to shoot, but he did so there. Now quickly in transition, this time I say it was. He goes far side, hip high on Horn, and the Shamrocks starting to run away with it at this point.
Well, say it ain't so. The Shamrocks now leading the Crude by 6 goals, and this is eerie, similar shades to game number 1 against the Mavericks for the Crude. Just in this case, it's a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and now as we get a wipe of the floor, we can start to talk about what's coming up here tonight. Next up, we've got the Mavericks and the Kings. The Mavericks 1-0, the Kings 0-1 after both playing this morning. That is correct. Mavericks and Kings, and then tonight we got the host Rebels, who are 1-0, taking on the Shamrocks, looking like they might be going 1-0 here. Still time left. That'll be at 8:30 tonight. That'll be the nightcap of day one. Day two, we'll finish off the round robin quickly. It's only a 2-day round robin. And that will start off with a 9 a.m. game, bright and early again. The Crude will take on the Kings. And then right after that, we'll have the Mavericks and Shamrocks at noon. As right now, we look like we're ready to get back underway here. I want to thank you for joining us here on CROW LAX TV. This is the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup, as we look to find out who's going to represent Alberta at the Founders Cup this year, being held by the host Shamrocks. The team you're seeing right now on your screen, they'll be in the tournament as the hosts. There needs to be another Alberta representative, and we'll touch more on that as the weekend goes along. Nick Capillo picks up the loose change, and he'll set it up off the wrong side of the floor. Now out of the corner, he one-hands it. Not much opportunity there because he was on his wrong side.
And stepped in the crease as well.
And Heitkamp sends it, and Lutweiler made a nice move to pull Horn across the net, tried to go back short side, and just threw it over the crossbar. Just, again, it's the second period, so you're seeing a lot of transition looks as the front gate's close to the opponent net. And the Crude have had issues with that transition game. In the second period, it's really been trouble for them as the ball is gonna get turned over here on the shot clock violation, and we also got a call coming up here.
So Crude are gonna take another one. This time it's gonna be a cross-checking call as the media timeout's gonna hit.
Yeah, Keenan, so, you know, this is looking a lot like the game earlier today, where the Mavericks on the scoreboard never really stomped the Crude or anything, but just had control of the game, had turnover after turnover forced or just given to them, and just had so many looks in transition. 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, breakaways, and they did a really good job of not waiting around. Like you see their two guys that are highest on their defense, they're always taking off, and they're setting themselves up for those opportunities. I'm almost certain the Shamrocks must have watched that game and gone, hey, on possession changes, on missed shots, on all kinds of little turnovers, take off up the floor because there's that space to go, and they've utilized it here. And so even though, you know, it's only 7-1, they've controlled the game, and they've kind of played it at their pace. They've sped it up.
They absolutely have. I mean, if you look at the shot total through halfway now through the second period, 34-11 in favor of the Shamrocks. I don't think the Crude have actually had a shot on net in about the last 7 or 8 minutes of this game. So, you know, the Crude are definitely struggling a little more in this game on offense than they were in Brighton early against the Mavs.
As the power play starts back up, here's Dowswell. Up top to Miller. Miller sets a fake seal and slides into the middle. And that shot just rose wide. Now Dowswell is going to pick it up, and they say that Horn got a piece of that. That's why you're going to see a reset for the Shamrocks. Here is Miller. Dowswell, the Red Deer product, faking up top to Miller. Miller gets it back, drags it a little bit over to Dowswell. Up top, and Nygren with that shot into the midsection of Horn.
Nygren really gave that thing some heat. He practically jumped and put everything he could into that shot.
You know what, Keenan? That might be Horbe in net now. I don't know. I didn't see a change, and then, unless I'm sorely mistaken, there was a change. Okay, I wanted to make sure. I was like, I swear Horn started this game.
He absolutely did. So
yeah.
Good to know we're not crazy.
So Horbe is in now, and thanks. Shout out to Tristan, our great technical producer, for pointing that out, that assuring me that change was made. And now again in transition, the Shamrocks make the Crude pay, and it's getting a little out of hand at this point.
As Snee gets the hat trick goal right here, 8:17 to go in the second. Now Shamrocks up by 7, and I mean, it's a long road back for the Crude.
Yeah, and you know, you're playing your second game of the day, so it's tougher on you than it is your opponent, especially at this point. Your opponent's feeling it. They got confidence. You need something to go your way right now. You know, it's not impossible to come back down 8-1, but there's got to be a change in the flow of play here for that to be possible.
Absolutely.
As the ball goes loose, as Tyson Smith throws his man down. He's going to grab, well, didn't pull it in, and now the other way went Kalinic. Horbe got an arm on that one. As the ball pops up through center, Huckabee, who scored earlier today against the Mavericks in transition himself, is going to throw it right into the stick of Patterson. The Shamrocks turn it up. As we hit the 7.5-minute mark of the second period, Shamrock's going to go play some offense here. Now stopping up high is Ferrati. He sends it over to Lutweiler, and he just missed the far side. Ball's going to bounce back into Shamrock territory. Crude ball.
Yeah, and you were mentioning earlier about how the Crude now playing their second game of the day against somebody who's playing their first. I just want to say the Crude kind of got shafted a little bit in this tournament, because not only do they get a fresh team in their second game of the day on day one, it also happens tomorrow where they play the Kings at 9 a.m. and then get a fresh Rebels at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. So the Crude kind of got a little bit shafted in the scheduling.
Yeah, and the 9 a.m. game's not great. As anybody who's ever played sports or has ever really lived life, it's tough to get up sometimes that early and then have to go play a physical and grueling game like lacrosse. I don't envy anybody that is tasked with that. So yeah, it is definitely a tough draw for the Crude. As the Shamrocks control it here. Now all the way to the net and tucking it past Horbe was Dowswell. Defender just sort of vacated and said, hey, here you go underneath. Go right to the net. And leaving Horbe out to dry there, 9-1.
Yeah, talk about a defensive miscommunication there, if you can even call it that. I mean, you're leaving Riley Dowswell all alone there. I mean, there's a reason that the Shamrocks wanted him. There's a reason they traded for him. And he's paying his dividends now in the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup.
Yeah, and it's not like it was a case of you falling asleep off ball and a guy cutting in behind you or anything like that. Like, he had the ball at the dotted line, and the defender just let him. And here's the Crude back the other way, and Ballantyne tried to go up high on Myzik on the short side, and the big goaltender stood tall.
And that's the Crude's first shot on goal in about 10 minutes of this game.
I think they had 10 or 11 to start the period, so it's been a lot longer than that even, as the Shamrocks come back down. And now underneath his defender and diving across the crease was Say, but he missed the target. And now Dzwanka, one of the guys that I said has really picked up his play. Can't fault him at all for how hard he's battled, carrying the ball up the floor. Plenty for the Crude as he gets taken in heavily into the boards, but he survives it and uses his size to his advantage to bounce off of that. Fodchuk, and he rifles one from a severe angle, almost at the boards, and he rocked the pipe. And if there's a league, I was talking to RIC at the tournament, Sean Reed earlier, played Junior A with him, known him a long time, and we were talking, and he said that, there's too bad there's no two-point shot, because you throw Fodchuk out there, and he'd be the one guy that could probably nail it for you and maybe tie a game up that you otherwise wouldn't be able to tie up.
5 seasons a junior, he'd have 800-plus points.
It's crazy, man. He's got a knack for those off-angle, bad-angle, distance shots. But right now, you need a little more than that to hang in these types of games, as the Crude are going to come back into Shamrock territory. Fry surveys and tries a no-look pass, but there was really no reason to try the no-look pass, and it made the pass more difficult than it needed to be, and it turned over. But now the Shamrocks throw it away. And the ball goes loose. And it'll be kicked back out, picked up by the Shamrocks. As they set back up, they get a full change in. And the ball will reside over with Say. Say has room to shoot, and he goes right into the midsection of Horbe. Nicapillo will pick it out up out of his own crease, and he runs around Kalinic. Here's Stenson. Stenson lobs it up to Elliott as Liam Elliott hangs on to it. Now he feeds it over to Ballantyne. Ballantyne looking, going down low with it. Lemieux swings it over to Elliott. Elliott wide open is Fry, but he didn't bring it in. And now a lead pass was dropped by the Shamrocks, but McLean is going to pick it up now. McLean off of the crossbar, and that stays out. It's McConnell comes back and turns it up to Fodchuk. Fodchuk is going to step into one, and you could see that coming as the defender stepped off of him, and it hit the mask of Myzik, and now the other way with great speed. Ferrati goes up and over Horbe to the side, and Gavin Ferrati showing, almost looked like a sprinter out of the blocks, man. He took off there, and the Shamrocks again in transition, and it's starting to get out of hand here.
You want to talk about a guy who can turn on the Jets on a moment's notice. It's Gavin Ferrati. Holy crap. I felt like I was watching freaking Usain Bolt or something going down the middle of this floor. Like, absolutely crazy. And, you know, as good as Horn is on breakaway opportunities, there's going to be some that going to slip. Ferrati is one of those guys that it's almost always going to.
And it is Horbe in now, though. But
or sorry,
I get your point. I get your point. Breakaways are tougher to save a breakaway than an outside shot. Let's say that. As Fry goes down to the wall where Liam Elliott waits for it. Now he flips it up to Fodchuk. Fodchuk and Ballantyne have that go loose on them. Now Fodchuk chased out to center, and on the run, he rips it off of Myzik's mask. And now the Shamrocks maybe a little bit disheveled after all of that. Throw it back into Crude possession, and Bilichuk will bring it up.
Yeah, the Crude doing a nice job of at least moving it up the floor, and, you know, defensively been pretty good. I mean, now a few defensive breakdowns here in the second.
Fodchuk and rolls that wide. And McLean is going to hustle after this, but it'll be back over. But quickly on it is the Calgary captain. And the Shamrocks going to hold on to the ball here and swing it.
This is the delay penalty on the play to the Crude again.
Yeah, it's that far official down in the corner. Didn't see it. Good call by you, Keenan. Now it looks like, I don't know if they're evening this up or I think they called a second penalty. They might be taking two Crude players here.
Yeah, it almost looked like he was signaling for two different guys to head over to the box.
Yeah, so generally, like, if you're wondering why they blew that dead and without the Crude getting possession, it's because the second penalty results in an immediate whistle.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as that second penalty hits, the ref blows his whistle and just sends the guys to the box. That's what, if you're wondering at home what the case was there, that's exactly what happened.
Huckabee and Dizwanka both head to the box for 2 minutes. Another 5-on-3 power play.
As the ball is down low, skips back up high, and that is Seth Miller with that shot. As that ball just gets sent up floor into the mesh.
I'm surprised that actually didn't hit the roof. I almost thought it did.
And McLean is going to bring it back up. Auger. He has Lutweiler down on the crease. Lutweiler faking back up. Auger behind the back down to Lutweiler. He tried to go cross crease to Say. Say goes and gathers that loose ball. Now he tried to whip it back over to Lutweiler. Hit a stick.
It's a nice defensive stick by Nikipolo there.
Yeah, as he sends that up. But it's too far for Reich. Ball goes off the glass. And the Shamrocks have a 3-on-2 here. Cross crease pass, and burying it was Luke. Pretty tall, lanky righty. Used some leverage there and reached back for that quick stick. Put a little bit of extra sauce on it. Got by Horbe.
As referees are over talking to the Crude bench here, I think they were trying to figure out which player they're letting out. I'm not 100% sure, as looks like Dizwanka is going to be coming out of the box.
Yeah, so Dzwanko make his way out. We'll go 5-on-4 here.
47.5 to go here in the middle frame. 1:02 of power play time left for the Shamrocks.
And O'Dwyer boxes Nickapillo out on the draw, and it's going to give the Shamrocks another possession as we tick underneath 35 seconds to go in the period. Seth Miller to Dowswell. Dowswell now down to Lutweiler as Miller seals down up top. Nygren is going to whip it over to Lutweiler, back up to Dowswell. Drag move, and rebound came right back out, and that was back of the net. It popped out pretty quickly, but it did go in and kiss the mesh. I believe that was Say once again down low, and it's 12-1.
So Say with another goal, a power play marker here. 16.3 to go in the second. 12-1 Shamrocks lead. And I mean, you're going into the third period down by 11 goals. I mean, at what point do you kind of say, okay, well, this game's a wash, let's just play it out?
Yeah, I mean, you have 4 games to work with. It's not much racetrack. You never want to, you can never ever let a game go. You got to keep trying, you got to keep pushing, but it is tough mentally, you know, especially when you're in your second game of the day. It is tough mentally to try and rebound from something, and that can't go in. As I'm trying to rebound with 1 second left, that is hard to take.
Ogier just was gonna, or I think he was just trying to dump that in here in the final seconds of the second, and somehow that found its way past Horbe.
Yeah. And, you know, it doesn't, at this point, it doesn't really matter in the outcome. But you do feel that sag when something like that happens, even still, even with the score. So we'll see what kind of third we get. But that is a rough way for the period to end, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you never want a period to end with a goal in the final seconds, and let alone a goal that puts the opposing team up by 12.
Yeah, and so now you're looking at a Shamrock team that, you know, they got to play again tonight against the Rebels. So it's good for them because they can kind of play their cards a little tighter. They don't really have to run anything on the power play. They can just kind of drain clock, rest up, and use that time to, you know, you still got game action. You still got to take it seriously, but you don't have to be pushing the pedal down to the floor, right? And
Exactly.
in a tournament like this, with how hot it is, it's good to have that ability to be able to take your foot off the gas a little bit and say, hey, let's prepare for our next challenge, which is tonight against a Rebels team that is playing some good lacrosse.
Absolutely.
All right, so after the second period of play, the score is the Calgary Shamrocks 13, the St. Albert Crude 1. We'll be right back with you in about 8 minutes for the third period. Welcome back inside Jubilee Recreation Center, where it is the Calgary Shamrocks in full command of this game number 3 of the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. The Crude in danger of falling to 0-2 here. The Shamrocks opening up their tournament, in a game that looks like it's going to be a win here, and they have further business to take care of later tonight when they take on the Rebels here at 8:30. But first off, we've got a third period to talk about. Keenan, I know it's kind of lip service at this point. There really isn't too much the Crude can do here in the third to change this game. But, you know, if you were the coach of the Crude in that intermission, what would you be telling the guys? What would your message be?
Honestly, like at this point, I think, as you said, I think you know that you're down by 12 with 20 minutes to go. It's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to come back in this one. So I think you're sitting there, you're telling your guys, look, we're down 2, but we have 2 games tomorrow. We win those. There's a good possibility that we could be in that third round robin slot. So I think it's just a matter of looking ahead rather than looking at what's currently happening.
Yeah, and you also got a game against your rival, the Rebels, and it's going to be a chance to spoil their party, at least partially. So you got plenty to look forward to here. Your tournament's not done. You win 2 tomorrow. You probably get third, so we'll wait and see as Dowswell skips out in front of the net and tucked that by Corbet, but they call him for going inside the crease.
Yeah, just had a foot too far.
As the Crude are going to set up here. I believe, Keenan, that the Crude had 3 shots in that middle frame, and all 3 of them were by Fodchuk.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
As the Shamrocks are going to come back down to the net. Snee looking for more, as he's been dangerous in this game transitionally. And the ball goes loose, and it's picked back up by Stenson.
That was an interesting little play there where one player set a pick on another just to kind of give him a little more space to work with, but it was almost like reverse, kind of like he picked him before the player ran in.
As the ball gets sent up high, Bodchuk quickly down to the wall, but now we got a delayed call.
Crude taking another one here.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to take Liam Elliott. These offensive zone penalties, Keenan, are just, they're very, very tough to handle as a coach, as a team. And obviously you're down 13-1. I can see Terry Doken, the head coach of the Crude, unhappy with that. And I'm not surprised.
And you're down by 12, yeah, I would be too.
You don't expect an offensive zone penalty to be called against you, especially when you're down by 12. It has to be pretty egregious. I didn't really see what happened, but it's a tough one if you're on that bench. It's just kind of annoying, right? Like you're down, you're getting punched, and you don't really need that. But either way, the Shamrocks are on the power play here. OJ skips it into the middle now as that feed came from Say. It got knocked down. Good active stick by the Crude. I think it was Nick Apillo who knocked that down. Winding and firing that pass on the skip. Missed its intended target, Say, and here goes Dzwanka. Dzwanka all the way across center and into Shamrock territory as he peels out. And now Fry with possession. Bennett Fry with the goal in this game for the Crude. Up to Fodchuk. Fodchuk winding and firing, and again from above the rag line, he scores. And like I was talking about earlier, and I don't even think I was on air when I was talking about it. Maybe I was. It's all blurring together. We've been here since 8 a.m. But I was talking with RIC Sean Reed of this tournament about Fodchuk, and if there was ever a 2-point shot in the game, it would be Fodchuk that you would want on your team, because he routinely scores from bad angles and way out. And he did so again there. That's 2 games back-to-back he does it in, and now it's 13-2.
Offense being able to find a way to get it in the net no matter where you are on the floor.
As the Crude wanted a call there. Dowswell. Ball up high. Dowswell bounces it. Past Horby. It's 14-2.
Off the front of Horby, and it found its way, I believe it was short side on Horby past. And yeah, 14-2, you're back down by 12.
And right now, the spread is not really of too much worry for either team here.
No, and you can tell that it's not. It's quiet in this building.
Yeah, and
Quietest it's been all day, practically.
yeah, right now, there was some discussion at the Crude bench about wanting a call there, but there was none forthcoming, and now we'll snap the plate. Here is McKeag. Safe. Throws it down into the corner where Kalinic was waiting for it. Auger, half wall for Anderson, and he shot that. Good soak there by the Crude defense.
Right off the back of right.
And now Kalinic to the dotted, and squeezing that off was Horbe. As the ball brought up by McConnell, and he hands it to Fodchuk. Josh Fodchuk skipping in. He's got McLean on him. Pick comes from Lemieux. Now up high. It's Jack Fry. Hits his brother Bennett. Bennett sends it over to Fodchuk. Fodchuk on the run and whips it into the short side top corner this time. Out again, 14-3.
Nearly the same place that he scored the second Crude goal as well. And again, like I said, finding ways to score from bad angles and goals that shouldn't go in is one of his specialties.
Yeah, and that was decently closer, but he was on the run and got a lot on that as he was able to whip that past the goaltender, Myzik. Dwyer, who's very capable on loose or on face-offs, wins another one.
Driven into the boards a couple times here.
Yeah, that's Hollowaychuk as Kalinic gets the ball down low. Ball's brought up high and into the stick of Lutweiler. Lutweiler has Nicapillo on him. The ball is flipped up to Dowswell. It was a little high. He has to regather, and that'll do it for the shot clock. Crude ball here with 15:53 to go.
Yeah, and the Crude just kind of playing it out at this point, I feel like, and hence why Fodchuk's just been throwing balls on net from weird angles. Is the Crude kind of know that this game is over, essentially. That was a dangerous play.
Yeah, Valentine kind of was jammed up, kind of pushed it into Myzik, and then the ball went off a foot and kind of stayed inside the crease. Auger, right side, pick set from McLean, and then he throws it through Horbe, who didn't really step, kind of hit him on the leg and just rolled past him.
And that McLean goal looking very similar to the Fodchuk goal there from outside for number 3.
Yeah, he was a little closer, but he was able to get up over top where Fodchuk was he was going further and further from the net, which makes that shot even that much more incredible. That without that plant and without his forward momentum going towards the net, he was able to get that much on it and rip it. Talking about that Fodchuk goal in the top corner. Fodchuk now gets it over to the right side for Elliott. Elliott spins off a defender and rips that way wide. That might have went off of a Shamrock. And then Elliott with the quick stick, that gets past Myzik. No, if Myzik tracked that pass or if he thought that he was up against that post, because he didn't really react to the pass. I think he just expected it to hit him, and there was some space over there.
I'll be honest, if Myzik is anything like me, I did not track that pass either. That pass had some good heat on it. Nice job by Elliott to just nail it right in the back of his stick and then put it in the back of the net.
So Say will get it over to Lutweiler, the big righty. He's going to make his way into the zone. And Lutweiler, swim move. And now we got a delayed call this time. I think they're going to call an offensive zone penalty on the Shamrocks. And
I think it's Say that's actually getting this one.
I think Say's going to the box for a cross check.
So the Crude going to head back to the power play again here. And I mean, a bit of a lost cause, down by 13. But hey, if you can pad at least a couple stats, why not?
As the ball is going to work its way around the perimeter. Fry skips it, or excuse me, that's Ballantyne skipping it down to Fry. Elliott has it, tried to go feet, or tried to go backdoor. Lemieux pulls it back in.
Spin move.
And that shot again, and that almost hit, went off the boards, and it almost rolled in after it hit the foot of Isaac. But it stays out, and Dwyer will get it over center.
It's lucky a defender was there.
That ball into the feet of Snee. He's going to have to go in behind the net to try to grab it. He's surrounded by a couple of Crude players. And now bringing it out from behind the net are the Shamrocks. Now, I was pretty sure the score was 16-4. I don't know why they took a goal off the board. Maybe I'm crazy here, but I swear I thought it was 16-4. Maybe I'm wrong. As the ball gets sent over to Elliott. Here's Fry up top. He hits his brother Jack. Fodchuk. Elliott. And that cross floor pass on the diagonal goes wide of its target. And here come the Shamrocks.
Reverse hit from DePava. That was nice.
Yeah, Jet DePava using his size, but the ball eventually turns over. Fodchuk again whips it, and that time Isaac makes the shoulder save. And here goes Johnson. As the Shamrocks will collect it and head up floor.
Only about 10 seconds left of time in that penalty there for cross-checking.
Here's Ferrati for the Shamrocks. He's looked good in this game. Already showcased his great speed. Ferrati one-on-one underneath. He's angled off by McConnell, and then he tried to feed it over to the right side, but the shot clock was expiring and the ball got knocked down. Nicapillo jogs into the Shamrocks end of the floor, and now a Crude player is dragged down off the ball. It looks like Bennett Fry.
No penalty coming on that, though.
No penalty. I did not see how he ended up on the floor. Just saw he was on the floor. And nothing's going to come of that.
So they were tied up for a while there even afterwards and exchanged some words on the way to the bench.
Now, far wall. As that feed came in, a cutter. Nygren was open there, and he missed the target. Dowswell underneath, twister. Tried to go 5-hole. Horbe said no. And he's going to hang on to it. And now he's going to try a long pass. McConnell almost grabbed it, but he's taken in heavily into the boards. That'll be interference, and the Crude will get a fresh 30. Now Elliott, right side. Gets it over to Josh Fodchuk. Fodchuk whips it wide of the net. And now the ball comes back all the way into the Crude zone. It'll be back over, and the Shamrocks will take over. If you're watching at home, these games are always tough. They're tough to play in. They're tough to officiate often, and they're often tough to call. So thanks for staying with us here, as we've already had one great game in this tournament. The Queen City Kings and the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels just having played 11-10 in what was a pretty thrilling game, very physical, very fast-paced, and a lot of skill in that one. And be sure to stay with us for our next game. 5:45, I believe, is the start time. You've got the Mavericks taking on the Kings, and both teams second of the day, and now Auger will pick the ball up after it rebounded off the end boards and deposited it back behind Horbe. Now it is 16-4.
That was a nice job to read where that rebound was coming from and ends up right in the back of the net.
Yeah, so now we're going to get another draw here in a category that O'Dwyer has really dominated.
Yep.
And I remember seeing him last year at the Larry Bishop it was something that he really took and he really made a difference for them in the dot. And he kind of stood out in my head as a guy that made, he's a guy that, I don't know, there's not many teams that have dominant face-off guys, and he's a guy that does sort of provide that first team, and I think it's something to note. As Fodchuk tried to flip that back to Ballantyne, he does so, and now Fry gets it to the half wall. Elliott comes up top with it. He's going to hang on to it and fire it into the midsection of Mizek.
Nice job by Mizek coming across the crease to save that one.
As the Shamrocks come back with the ball. Here's Lutweiler. Got Dowswell and Anderson with him on the right side. Now Ferrati left side. Ferrati up across the top, jump shot, just missed. There's a lot of power on that. And here comes Lutweiler on the run, and that goes through Horbay. 17-4.
And Lutweiler just firing that one on net again. Dying seconds just to, get a rebound or go for a change off, and another one that ends up finding its way past Horbay.
At this point, we saw straight time in the second game of the North Final. I don't know who would argue with some straight time right now in this game. Find me that person who would argue with straight time in this game in the final 9.5. With 5 games, still 2 to go. From this arena here, as we'll be halfway through the round robin after tonight. As the ball gets picked up by the Shamrocks, and then a quick stick off the bar. Short side of Horbay. Ball bounces slowly down to Mizek, who sends it back over to Auger. Here's Miller. Seth Miller gets it to Auger. Auger winds and fires. That riser misses the target. Had a lot of heat on it. And that shot comes back in from Say. That goes off of Horbay, out of play. Shamrock possession. We'll get our final media timeout of the game. So Keenan, we've seen after this game, we'll have seen all 5 teams have played at least 1 game. Crude have played 2. What are your thoughts so far early on in this tournament?
I think this is one of the highest levels of lacrosse in the Larry Bishop that we've seen in years. It's just unbelievable what some of these teams are pulling off, with the Shamrocks, Mavericks, Rebels. Who am I missing right now? Crude and Kings. So, 5 very strong teams here at the Larry Bishop. And yeah, I just think it's been one of the best Larry Bishops that we've seen post-COVID.
So with that in mind, I don't really know what the approach is here for the Crude. I think they just want the clock to drain and move on to tomorrow.
Not an easy day tomorrow either, because they have matchups with the Rebels and with the 2 they played today, the Mavericks and the Shamrocks. So they've got the Rebels and, why can I not remember who the other team is? Kings. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, it's you got that Alberta bias, buddy.
It's not the Alberta bias.
You can't even think of anybody else.
I woke up at 6.
You don't even think about anybody else. Nobody else in the country, just Alberta. Just like you're an Outlaws fan. As the ball gets picked back up by Miller. That shot comes in from Auger. And it's swung up top, and that shot wildly goes wide. And we'll get a 30-second shot clock violation. Ball will turn over into St. Albert possession. Here's Elliott looking. Liam Elliott steps into it. His stick was interrupted on the release, and the ball goes into the corner, picked up by the Shams, and they're going to go up floor. McLean all the way to the net. McLean, and that got turned away by Horbay. Ball goes out, and it'll be, well, they say it went all over Horbay because If it had touched him, it would be Shamrock ball. But they rule it didn't, and the Crude will take possession. A little stay in play here from Dane Menon on that left side. Elliott, the only righty out now. Menon will change. Elliott rolling the ball in on Myzik, and the Shamrocks come back the other way. Here's Luke Weiler. Gets it to the wall for Anderson. Anderson swings it over to Say, gets it back. Anderson, pick set there for him. Now back to Say. Say tried to go backdoor quick stick to Luke Weiler. Ball got knocked down by the Crude, and then out of the corner. Horbe didn't see that, but it was stopped, and then the rebound picked up by Dow, who kind of leaned to that far side and then tucked it short, 18-4.
On the third opportunity there for the Shamrocks, is there wasn't a lot of rebound control there by Horbe.
And it all started with that shot out of nowhere from the corner. And it came in with some steam. I don't know if Horbe even saw it. Hit his foot, popped back out, and then the Shamrocks are able to get a couple more opportunities before cashing. Fodchuk is gonna think about shooting. Now he goes over to Fry, and now Smith tackled a Shamrock. It's gonna turn over into Calgary possession. Here's OJ. Now Anderson. Ball swings. Up top, OJ. Now Miller turns back, feeds it in front, behind the back. Nygren with a beauty. Behind the back into the top corner. And Keenan, Soren Nygren, I wasn't familiar with your game, but my goodness, he's showing some skill here. And granted, it's a 19-4 game, but that's never easy move to pull off. Nice goal there, and even though it's a blowout and it's a foregone conclusion, still nice skill shown there by the lefty. So Dwyer picks it up and sends it up. Surrounded here by Crude defenders is Kalinic. He's gonna roll it up to Ferrati, who mishandled it, but it's picked up promptly by Say. Say down low. Now to Kalinic. Kalinic up high. Luke Weiler over to Anderson. Anderson lines and fires. A bounce shot goes wide. And trying to run that down was Huckabee. God, Keenan, you know, we got up at 6 to come here, and got here at 8, and yes, we do live in Edmonton. The fort takes a while, and came here real early. We're here at 8, and it feels like right now it feels like we've been here for 7 straight days.
Well, practically.
As the ball with Elliott gets risen into the chest of Myzik. Myzik throws it up floor for Ferrati. Now he sees where the ball had landed, but by then it was too late. Zwenka reacted first, and he'll pick it up. 5 minutes to go now. The lead is 15 for the Shamrocks. Here comes Josh Fodchuk. Bennett Fry. Got some space to shoot. He's going to take it. And that went into the stick and turned away by Myzik. And now another breakaway. It's Holloway-Chuck. Holloway-Chuck tried to go 5-hole. Horbe makes a save. And now here come the Crude. McConnell, Fodchuk. As he backpedals and he takes it. And Myzik thought that got in behind him, but got enough of it to make the stop. Now to Pava, takes his man heavily into the boards. Ball goes loose. And still battling for it are a couple of Crude players, and now they'll draw the interference call. Fodchuk looking around. Good topside defense there, not letting that shooting lane open up for Fodchuk by McLean. Now Fodchuk races around up top. He's chased way out. Don't want to let him shoot. And now here comes the Shamrocks. McLean with Johnston. McLean steps into one, and that goes high and wide. Now the ball's flipped up the other way. Bilichuk gets it to Fodchuk, who runs up the floor. And winding and firing again is Josh Fodchuk. He just says, the hell with it. I'm just going to wind and fire. I don't care where I am on the floor.
Well, when you're down by 15 with under 4
Exactly,
to go.
exactly. And you don't even blame him. As Auger. Now Miller. Auger inside. And he twists that into the midsection of Horbate. And now a lob pass. Huckabee almost runs it down. Now Huckabee picked it up. Myzik stepped out of the net like he was going to try and grab it and was out of position. But then somehow stepped back in just in time to turn that away.
What a beautiful job by Myzik to make sure that that one stayed out.
Oh yeah, somebody in the comments is asking if the Crude, what happens with the Crude if they lose this game? Yes, everybody plays 4 round robin games. So no matter what your record is, you're playing 4 games. You're playing everybody else in the tournament. So they'll have their 2 games regardless tomorrow. And then after the round robin, the 2 and 3 seeds play a semifinal. First gets the bye into the final. And then the 4 and 5 seeds are out. As the ball remained in front of the net there, the Shamrocks would pick it up and throw it into the cage. So just to recap that for everybody, you get 4 games. Everybody plays 4 round robin games. And after those 4 games, seeds 4 and 5 are out. Their seasons are done. Seeds 2 and 3 play each other on Sunday in the semifinal. And then the winner will advance to the final. And then the winner of that will play the first seed in the gold medal game. And as far as it's a little bit more complicated. The Shamrocks are in as hosts. The Kings are in as the Saskatchewan representative. So it's whoever finishes higher between the Crude, the Rebels, and the Mavericks. The highest seeded team of those 3 will be your Alberta representative at the Founders Cup. The Shamrocks, of course, the hosts. So they're in already, as I said. Elliott tried to send that over to Fodchuk. Fodchuk off of the leg pad of Myzik, and now back into offensive territory. Now we're gonna dip underneath 2 minutes. As Dowswell holds on to it. And Miller to Nygren. As that shot comes in, they're gonna give him a reset.
Yeah, I did catch a little piece of Horbay there right at the end.
As the ball comes up high. And sits on the left side, or on the right side, excuse me, now on the left side. Miller. Ball goes over to Anderson, who just is content to bring it up high. Shot comes in from Auger off of a body. It's gonna stay with the Shamrocks. As Auger is gonna hold on to this. As we wind down now underneath a minute. No need to push the ball here or go to the net if you're the Shamrocks. Miller holding. Taking a couple of whacks. Now Miller into the middle of the floor and just missed the target. So 40 seconds remaining here. I just think you're gonna see the Crude kind of toss this ball around, take probably an outside shot and let this game go. I'll let you take in the sounds of the arena a little bit here. Not much to call. As Fry will just roll the ball to the official. As the final 10 seconds will tick off the clock. And that's going to do it here in game number 3 of the Larry Bishop Memorial. Final score will be the Calgary Shamrocks 20, the St. Albert Crude 4. The Shamrocks start off their tournament 1-0. The Crude will drop to 0-2 after game number 3 of the Larry Bishop Memorial. Keenan, I want to get your overall thoughts. More so, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory what happened in this game, but more so on what the Crude do from here and what their message has to be going into tomorrow, where they're going to have to win both games to have a chance to advance.
Yeah, as I said earlier in this broadcast, I think it's since the end of at the end of the first, you're at least close, but since the end of the second at least, you've got to put all your focus into tomorrow. You've basically just got to tell your guys, like, look, we know that this game isn't going to end up the way that we wanted it to, but you look at tomorrow, you got 2 big matchups, 2 must-win games. You win both of those, there is a shot still that you end up 3rd in the round robin, head to that bronze medal game. So anything can really happen tomorrow, and I think that's the message that you got to tell the guys, is tomorrow's a new day, anything can happen.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody on this crew for a great game. Colorman Keenan, technical producer Tristan Shaw, and of course, Gabby on the camera. Everybody doing a terrific job here from the Larry Bishop Memorial. Final score, game number 3 of the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. The Shamrocks take it 20-4 over the St. Albert Crude.
And player of the game coming up here in a moment.
We also have player of the game coming up here. Yeah, John, if the Crude only win 1 game, it's very unlikely they'll advance. It's possible, but very, very unlikely. Just the way the math works. Especially tiebreakers, losing a game 20-4 it very much hurts your chances. So they're gonna have to win. I know you're a big Crude fan. They're gonna have to win both games tomorrow. So we're just lining up for the MVPs of this game number 3. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening and watching. It's going to be a great weekend of lacrosse. We're just getting started. Game 3 in the books. Let's hear who our game MVPs are.
Environmental Services. Number 19, Karen Sneed.
So Kalen Snee ends up as player of the game for the Shamrocks, as their microphone, I think, in the arena was starting to die on them. So Kalen Snee, player of the game for the Shamrocks.
Player of the game, the St. Albert Crude. Number 19, William Nicopilo.
So those are your MVPs of game number 3 of the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. The Shamrocks, number 19, Kalen Snee, and on the other side, another number 19, Will Nicopilo. So as we wrap up here, Keenan, we've got a doubleheader now for the evening action. We've got the Mavericks and Kings at 5:45. That'll be coming up next, and then tonight, these same Shamrocks got the quick turnaround. They'll take on the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels in the nightcap. That's an 8:30 start. So anything you're looking forward to there specifically?
Yeah, you know, I think that's going to be one hell of a game in the nightcap. You got the North champs and the South champs. I mean, that game I'm definitely looking forward to, because you never know what's going to happen when 2 teams of that kind of caliber face off.
No, for sure, and the action's just going to heat up here as it looks like we've got a little bit of a separation here with some of these teams. We'll have a pair of really good games, I think, tonight, and that'll tell us a lot on where we're headed and what the math looks like coming up on Saturday, where we'll find out who gets placed where. Final score, Shamrocks 20, Crude 4. We'll check back in with you in about half an hour.